Welcome back to our series of lessons about how we create programs that interact with the real world. So, programs that use data from sensors. Okay, we are currently developing games using playgrounds on the iPad and utilizing some of the sensors that you find on the iPad. So, in the last session, we looked at how we can use information from the camera, specifically the brightness of the light that was coming in. Alright, so what we're going to investigate today is how we can use information from the microphone, so how we can make things happen depending on the sound that's coming in. Okay, so if we just have a look, I'm on the sound poppers. This is again in my sensor arcade. I'm in playgrounds. Okay, I'm on the sound poppers one. I'm going to run it first just to see what it does for now. Okay, so when I go to practice, you can see that I've got a text box at the top that says the volume and also the pitch. There are two pieces of information that we're getting from the microphone. We're getting the volume of the sound, and we're also getting the pitch. All right, and what I want to show you is if I play around with, I can click on this button in the top right hand corner. Sorry, just ignore my email coming through. I can click on this button and I can create down the bottom here. I can create different sounds. Okay, so I'm just going to turn my volume down so I don't. There we go. So I can create different sounds with different volumes and different pitches. Okay, so just by using my finger on the graph at the bottom, I can create, and as you can see, when the volume is what is it? So when the volume is over 0.634, or when the volume is 0.634, when the pitch is kind of around 100, nothing happens. And as I start to increase the pitch, there you go. You see when the pitch is over 200, so popper 0's moved, and then when I put it back, you see the popper 0 goes down again. And if I keep moving it across, let's see what happens. So there we go. So you can see that popper 1 has moved, all right, and the pitch is round about. So let's see. So I'm just playing around with this to see when it works. Okay, so the pitch, there you go. Oh, there we go. So it seems to be between 300 and 400. Okay, so when the pitch is somewhere just less than 400, I think between 200 and 400, popper 0 moves, and then when it's over 400, popper 1 moves. Now, there we go. So when it's anything else, all of the other poppers move. Okay, so what I really need to be able to do is, I'm going to stop this running for now, is I'd like to be able to get this so that I can control each of the poppers individually. Okay, so like in the light sensor, down the bottom here is the code. All right, and like before, you can see that I've got a function here. There we go. I've got a function here, and this tells the computer what to do when it hears something. Okay, so this is the function that it runs when it hears something. So you can see now, like in the light poppers one, I've got an if statement in here. Okay, but this is a little bit different because I've got an if statement within an if statement. So this says if the volume is greater than 0.03. Okay, so basically these poppers are only going to move if they hear a noise. Okay, if there's no noise, they are not going to move. Okay, so then we go into here and look, we've got another if statement. All right, and basically this if statement says if the pitch, all right, of what you're hearing is between 200 and 400. There we go. So we've got 200 and 399. So this symbol here means less than. So if it's less than 399, right, this symbol here means greater than. Okay, so if the pitch is between 200 and 399, then we have a look down here, then it says popper 0, you can see that number in there, is going to move because we're applying an impulse to it. Okay, just below that, again, it's another one of these. This time I've got an else if. You can see an else if this time. Okay, so I've got an else if, all right, and it says else if tone.pitch is greater than 400 and less than 599. All right, so this time it's between 400 and 599. What happens this time? All right, well, here it says that poppers 1 is going to move. Okay, now if we have a look down the bottom here, this is the bit of control. This is the bit of code down the bottom here, which controls what happens if the noise is greater than 600. Okay, so it says if it's greater than 600. Now look, what it does is it moves all the poppers 2 to 7. All right, so I don't want that to happen. I don't want it to move all the poppers 2 to 7. So that bit of code there, I'm just going to delete. Okay, so I've just pressed the delete button. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace that code with something different. So I'm going to tell it that I want to move poppers Actually, I could just use the buttons down here. That saves my time, doesn't it? Okay. So square bracket, and then which popper do I want it to move? Well, I want to move. I've moved 0 and 1, so I'm going to move popper 2. All right, and I'm going to put a dot in there. There we go. And I'm going to apply impulse like we did before last time. All right, and again, because I don't want it to go sideways, I'm going to put a 0 in the first double, and then for Y, I do want it to move up, so I'm going to make it, all the others are 150, so I'm going to make it go up 150. Now, I'm going to recommend to you that every time you complete a little bit of code, you run it to see what happens. All right, so I'm going to run this piece of code now, and let's see if our if the program has changed. Okay, well, look, what I've got here is it's telling me, you see it stopped running. Okay, it's telling me that I've got an issue. Okay, so it's saying that there is an issue here, and I've got a little red spot. Okay, so it's saying again, I've got a little red spot here. No, I don't know, this has just been a bit, oh, there we go. So that seems to fix itself. So the red spots have disappeared. All right, so I'm going to go back to this graph down here. There you go. So when the pitch is over 200, popper 0 is still moving. I'm going to move along. There we go. When it's over 400, popper 1. Now let's see what happens when there we go. So now I can individually move popper 2. Okay, but now I need to get all the other poppers working. All right, so that's what I'm going to work on now, and what you're going to be working on. So I'm going to stop my program running. So I'm going to change it just a little bit. So at the moment it says if it's greater than 600. Now, but I need to get the other poppers working as well. So I'm going to put if it's greater than 600, and so that's a symbol for and. Okay, and the tone dot pitch, right, is less than that. So let's make it between 600 and 799. Okay, so there you go. That's what's going to happen then. So if we run it now, let's just have a quick check. Here we go. I didn't get those errors that time. I don't know why that happened. So let's have a look. So the pitch is 200. There we go. The pitch is 400. The pitch there. Look at that. And then when I go above, there you go. So now what I can do underneath. All right. So I'm going to go underneath here. Now I've got to be very careful here because I've got to get my brackets right. In fact, that's going to be the wrong place to put it. So can you see that there's a bracket there? So after this bracket here, I'm going to put in another else if. In fact, I might just put it next door to it. There we go. So I might just go else if. Okay, and then I'm going to do tone dot pitch. So I'm just copying the one above, but this time rather than 600, I'm going to say greater than 800. Okay, and then again, I'm copying just the one above. So tone dot pitch. Less than, but not 799 this time. Let's go 999. Okay, now here's where we need to be very careful. So now I'm going to press enter, and if I copy the one above, actually I won't press enter. If I copy the one above, you can see after the 799 I put one of those brackets in. There you go, and it's put both of those brackets in. So now inside there I tell it what I want to do. So I want to move poppers 3. There we go. Now what do I want to do to poppers 3? I want to apply an impulse. So I'm going to apply an impulse to poppers 3. Alright, and again, I don't want it to move in the X direction, so I'm going to put 0 in there. I do want it to move in the Y direction, so I'm going to change that one, and I'm going to make that 150. Alright, let's test it again. So I always, before I do too much, before I make too many changes to the code, I always stop and test it before I go any further. Alright, so let's see if that works. So again, I'm using the graph down the bottom here. There we go, less than 400, that one moves. Less than 600, that one moves. More than 600, that one moves. And let's see if it moves. And there we go. So less than 800, there we look at that. Okay, so I want you to continue adding else if statements so that all of the poppers move individually. Okay, now once you've done that, start having a play with what else you can do. Obviously you can play the game, but start having to think, maybe you might want to move the poppers in a different direction rather than just up and down. Alright, so have a play and see what you can do. Thanks for watching.